So him getting me drunk all the time was a red flag. I think though, like he would get me drunk all the time when we went over there because shortly after I found out that his friend was on all kinds of medicine because, like I said, he was very sick. But I found pills in my boyfriend's drawer. Like he had a drawer that I wasn't supposed to go into, but I was putting some of his stuff up, and I found pills, pain pills too. I don't even remember what they were, but I think they were morphine, which was a big like trigger for me because my mom would steal my grandmother, who was sick who had breast cancer. My grandmother suffered from, or she died from breast cancer back 3 years ago. But she battled breast cancer for 8 years, and my mom would steal morphine and stuff, and so it was a big, a big like kind of trigger for me, kind of, and I'm like, I don't know what it was. Anyway, all I know is it was pain pills, and I found them, and I asked him, I'm like, what are, why do you have why do you have these pills? And he was like, oh well, he gave them to me because my foot, and I'm like, you weren't going to tell me? He was like, well, he gives them to me all the time. I just didn't want you to know about it because I knew you don't like it. And I'm like, you couldn't have told me? So looking back, I think that's what was going on. And then he would tell me that he was snorting them. And that really, really bothered me. That he was snorting pain pills. And within like the first 2 weeks of us being together, I found out that he was lying about smoking weed, that he lied, said he didn't smoke weed. Then he was getting me to smoke weed, even though I didn't like it. I had tried a few times, had a really, really bad high off of it, didn't want to, and I told him, I would tell him, like, me and weed don't go good together. You really don't want me to smoke weed, and then he would, pressure me until I would smoke it, because that was his way of not feeling guilty for it, and he would keep on and keep on and keep on until I finally did. And then I had a really bad high, and he didn't know how to deal with it. And I told him, and I freaked out and had to go outside, and I was freaking out. And he's like, I don't understand what's wrong with you. And I'm like, I try to tell you that me and we don't go good together because I don't like it. I don't want to be a part of it. And I try to tell you, and you kept on. And then he was like, don't, you know what I mean? And then that didn't help. It just, and looking, that was something that I probably should have picked up on, that I just was just naive and stupid and thought that he loved me and that it was something we could work out. And and then after that he was like, well, now we can buy weed because we're both working. You can help me buy my weed. And I'm like, well, if you buy a little bit and you make it last, then I don't mind helping. And that's not what was happening. That's not what was happening at all. He was buying like $60, and we were making like $150 a week, $200 a week, and he would buy $70, $80 worth of weed and would smoke it in 4 days. And he was taking me to bad places around town. We were getting in vehicles with people I didn't know, didn't like, didn't want to be around. You didn't know what kind of situations, and he would get so mad because I would be uncomfortable. And I'm like, I don't know these people. I don't know these people. You don't know these people. And then like he had a friend that he had known. It was actually the girl he had been taking videos of. It was her brother, but he was a well-known drug addict, been selling meth, all kinds of stuff. He sold all kinds of stuff. But he was, apparently, according to my boyfriend, he has a medical issue where he shakes, and it's fine. But at the time, I was extremely uncomfortable. They lived in the housing, and they had little kids. They had girls coming in and out. They were pretty much naked, which was making me uncomfortable because my boyfriend was very much interested. It made me uncomfortable. You had girls talking about sucking dick and all this. I mean, just like, and blatantly flirting with him in front of me. Constantly asking him for his lighter, and and I'm just like, I'm uncomfortable. At this point, I'm just beyond uncomfortable. We done been here for over an hour and a half. And so he's sitting out there, and his friend's sitting out there, and he's just shaking real bad. And I'm thinking, this motherfucker's tweaking. I'm sitting here waiting for the cops to pull up. I'm literally waiting for us to get shot. I'm waiting for these fucking girls to jump my boyfriend's bones. I'm just waiting for the most uncomfortable fucking situation. I'm like fixated on his hands. They're just sitting there like, he's just sitting there like, and I'm sitting there thinking, goddamn, I'm in a house full of fucking tweakers. And because they sitting there bragging about doing ice and shit. And they got little bitty kids running around the apartment, and they've got fucking trash. I mean, they got so much trash in that apartment that you literally had to step over stuff. Like, we were going in and out, and I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. Why are we here? I don't want, you know what I mean? I'm talking about trash stacked so high in that apartment everywhere that it was up over above the fucking stove. That's how much trash was in the house. And they had little kids running around. And I mean, I just never in my life seen something. And I was just so uncomfortable. So he was sitting there like doing this. And I fixated. I just fixated. That's what I was looking at. And because I was just, at that point in time, I was just so ready to go. And I done asked him like 4 times, can we leave? Can we please just go? Does weed really matter this much to you? Can we please just go and come back later? You know what I mean? I go, there's a girl in a fucking bikini running around, and you keep talking to her, and I'm standing here, and then you're like, don't get mad. Why are you getting so mad? You know what I mean? Like, how am I not supposed to be mad whenever you literally won't leave her the fuck alone? You know what I mean? And so he ends up flipping out on me about me trying to fuck his friend. And I'm like, I'm not to any degree interested. Like, how fucking dare you? But that was the kind of shit that he would do. A Walmart employee on our way in, was it on our way in or on our way out? A young Walmart employee smiled and said, hope you have a good day. And I looked up and smiled and said, you too. And he ended up packing my shit and throwing it out in the front yard over that. And it was like, I mean, it had to have been like a 16, 17-year-old kid. At the time was like 27. I'm not, even regardless of my age, I'm not interested in anybody else. I'm not, you know what I mean? I genuinely was not interested in anyone else. And that should have been a huge red flag. I had, another thing, I had a phone that was from my previous relationship that was unlocked, that I got switched over to a non-contract, and he used to throw it up in my face because it was a nice phone. I mean, we had paid good money for it. It was paid off. It was a nice phone, and he would throw it up in my face all the time about my phone. All the time about my phone. Your ex bought that, blah, 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 this, blah, blah, that. And I'm like, it's my phone. Why does it matter? There's no point in me getting a new phone. I have a perfectly good phone. Why should I get another phone? You know what I mean? And he would just, I don't know what she's barking at. But you know what I mean? He would just constantly throw it up in my face. Hold on.